Well, this is Captain Chill here, and I'm introducing a big monster of a match. I mean, if you don't know who Mondragon is, you don't know Foreigner StarCraft. This guy has been a monster throughout the history of time, always taking down big names, always giving us good games. A lot of people remember, the kind of turning moment for them in TSL 1 was Mondragon getting taken out 2-0 by Draven. I will never forget those games. And Mondragon back with us in this TSL, a monster as always. He's going to be taking on Shaman.
Yeah, and oh yeah, Shaman of Death, the famous Romanian player who's probably won more Romanian or probably been to more grand finals than most players I can remember. I mean, he always wins first place Romania as far as I remember. He's incredibly strong, very solid Terran player, and an incredibly nice, pleasant guy too. I actually met him at WCG 2004. So ever since he's been in the top of TSL. He was in 15th on the ladder. He was 32 and 37 in his games between A minus and A plus. So a little bit of a losing record. He was 15 and 20 against Zerg. So he's going to it with a little bit of discomfort, I'd say. But he has such solid play that I think he can definitely at least take several games off Mondragon, if not just win it.
Yeah, and I don't know. The thing I'm wondering about Mondragon is he's never kind of been this player who's head of the community. You never see him posting on the forums. You never see him playing kind of these side tournaments and talking about it. So if you don't really look for it, you don't know the activity of Mondragon. So he could be not playing. He could be taking this seriously. Either way, he's going to play well,
Mm-hmm.
but is he going to play up to his full potential?
Yeah, that's one thing that's so interesting about Mondragon is he's very under the radar. I mean, he's known for being an absolute monster against Protoss, going 49 and 1 against Protoss in the Razor TSL, and in the PokerStrategy.com TSL, since he's been at A minus, he's still maintained a 29 and 19 record, a winning record against A to A plus level players on Icy Cup. That's an incredibly difficult thing to do. And against Protoss, he's 11 and 7. Obviously, maintaining a very strong win rate against Zerg. He's 15 and 6. The only matchup in which he's had any issues with, it seems like, is against Terran. He's 3 and 6. And as much as Mondragon is an incredibly brilliant player with strong fundamentals, I think Zerg vs Terran is the most demanding matchup for Zerg players to play.
Yeah, you need your mechanics to be just at their peak to play Zerg versus Terran in this day and age at this level. You need just perfect Mutalisk micro and just the best Defiler control that we've seen. And I seem to recall a game Mondragon against Sea Shield where we saw him open up lurkers, go straight to Defilers, and just played an incredible game. So Mondragon is the kind of player, kind of to contrast what we've been saying about Casper. He can open up
Yeah, yeah.
non-standard, and he's comfortable to go straight into Defiler, and just he's got the goods to back it up.
Yeah.
So let's kind of set up this first game. This is going to be ZVT now on the same map pool. So we're going to open up game one on Tornado.
Yeah, I love Zerg vs Terran on this map. There's just so many weird paths to take that it's a lot of fun. I mean, if you open up Mutalisks, you have ways to harass your opponents. They can moving through all these weird valleys. You have high ground advantages from certain angles. With Lurkers, exact same thing. A lot of times, it's very easy to get in a nice position right outside your opponent's front. I think the biggest issue for Zerg though is how do I take my third gas? I mean, if you take that gas expansion, um, like if you take the gas expansion that's right next to your natural, then what you can do is or there it's only 2500 gas. That's the issue. It's a little bit low on the gas. But if you take another main or another main's natural, you do get the 5000 gas and the geyser. But I mean, it's a little bit harder to defend. If you just look at the map and think about the walk distance before between your natural and the third or the main that you end up taking, I mean that's pretty significant distance for Zerg.
Yeah, I got to agree. This is going to be a monster match. Let's get it going. Let's get game one of Mondragon Shaman on Tornado going. Let's hit it.
Game one starting right now of Mondragon against Shaman. So a few of the things that we were talking about at the start of the game, Chill, about Mondragon's, a little bit of fear we have about his mid and late game play. Let's actually just pause and briefly say that this huge string of stuff, this is going to be Mondragon spawning as the Zerg pieces at the top left, and we have Shaman or Shaman of Death spawning at the bottom position. But yeah, anyways, so I believe that that Mondragon, excuse me, I believe that Mondragon does have that very good ability just to play well whenever he sits down. I think the one issue that Mondragon would generally have is if he plays ultra standard in this matchup, opens 3 hash, goes straight into Mutalisk Zergling for the mid-game stages, and then tries to use a Mutaling Lurker delay straight into the Hive. I think that's where he would get probably some issues against some of the stronger Terran players. Against some of the foreigners, they might not have that really strong push timing with the 1 vessel, 3 tank, 30 to 40 medic marine push. But I think against any Korean, that might be where Mondragon would struggle. So as a lot of Oopsie daisies, accidentally hit the replay speed up. I thought that when it said looks like speed 5, I thought that someone was talking to me. I was like, whoopsie daisies. Yeah, but I mean, Mondragon's really good at doing some unorthodox, weird, nutty stuff. So what I really like, especially Chill, you mentioned this right, before the game, is that Mondragon opened up lurkers and went straight for defilers. He did that sort of weird rush right to defilers. That's the sort of thing that I think that Chill ends up. Mondragon. I keep calling Mondragon Chill. I don't know why. I don't know, Chill. Your styles are just so similar. I mean, you're just so strong.
Yeah, we're both so
Chill.
good.
I mean, it's just so intimidating to play against the monster Zerg Canadian Chill. But anyways, Mondragon is the sort of player who opts for strategic advantages. We see him getting +1 carapace upgrade against Protoss very early to maximize the effectiveness against the Zerglings. We see him going for a lot of drop play, a lot of very fast defiler tech. And right now, we're already seeing some unorthodox stuff going on with 2 barracks instead of a fast expansion coming out for Shaman.
Yeah, a bit of weird stuff going on this early. The standard build is 12 hatch 11 pool. Mondragon scouting that there's no early pressure, goes 12 hatch 12 pool, but he kind of gives that advantage back by leaving an idle drone for almost 10 seconds. So a little bit, that's a little bit unorthodox for Mondragon. We expect to see really nice, solid play from him. And this 2 racks from Shaman, 2 racks, I don't know how I feel about it these days. I feel like against Mondragon, just 1 racks expand, get your economy going. I don't think you're gonna get anything done with this kind of weird 2 racks play.
Well, I mean, I think it's because a lot of players enjoy opening 2 hatch these days, and especially on this map, I think a 2 racks opening can put a lot of pressure on a 2 hatching player. Sometimes even just shut it down immediately with the first push. Mondragon obviously going straight for the 3rd hatch, putting on his good old hacking insights and already seeing exactly what his opponent's going to be doing. More commonly known as a scouting drone, but still, it's good opening going on by Mondragon. Any opening, really, 2 hatch or 3 hatch, I think is very strong, but definitely given the fact that his opponent opened up for early 2 barracks, I really like this 3 hatch. Just getting a lot of drones early on for sunken colonies in defense.
I'm getting a little nervous here. There's only 4 Zerglings, 2 of them running straight into those first 5 Marines, a 6th Marine coming, no Sun Calling. Oh, Sun Calling almost gets stopped by the SCV. But there's only 2 Zerglings here. We can see there's 2 making in the main, 2 making at the nap, but they're still long and far away. A lot of hits could get off on the Sun Colony. The game hinges on this colony getting up. Looks like it's going to be okay, and it looks like Shaman realizes that, just going straight in against the units. Oh, now the Sun Colony taking a lot of damage. I think he's going to live this, but he's losing a lot of mining time, and very nice defense there with the Zerglings and drones. Maybe the colony is actually going to get taken out. Excuse me, I thought this was over, but still rallying Marines in. This is a lot of damage being done here, and these drones are going to start feeling the pain. Wow, a lot of damage being done here by this 2 racks. I take everything back I've ever said in my life. What a nice amount of damage being done here. Zerglings now funneling in drones. Wow.
Look, already at 15 of 19 food, I mean, even if Mondragon does manage to hold this off, he's going to be in an unbelievably tight situation. I mean, Mondragon did the right thing. Right when his first Zerglings popped out, he immediately sent some Zerglings directly to his opponent's base, because you need to make sure if this sort of push is coming. But against the 2 racks, I never mind just building that extra sunken colony, or just building the creep colony so you can morph into the sunken colony a little bit early, because look at how much damage this early push did. I'm really interested to see how Mondragon responds, because if there is any Zerg player who is good at getting out of situations like this, it is Mondragon.
Yeah, and what I like about what Shaman's doing here is, if we look back at his natural, he's actually getting an expansion. A lot of players would follow up like, oh, I did so much damage, I can kill him. Put down an academy, put down a refinery. Shaman's giving himself the best chance to win by being aggressive until Mondragon stops it, and then he can fall back and defend his natural. Very nice play. But with that being said, look at the damage he's doing here with these Marines. Mondragon forced to drone drill and get these Zerglings out. Looks like he's gonna be able to live maybe by the skin of his teeth. No, not even. Drone's
Jesus.
going down now, and there they go running again. Get those Zerglings working, Mondi.
And I mean, in this position as Shaman, it's especially nice because you know now that one of the only ways you can really lose is if your opponent tries to go for some sort of Ling speed break-in. I mean, so even in the off chance that you don't end up killing this hatchery, you have a pretty strong sense of what's coming up next. So you can just happily start adding on barracks, getting more fire bats, getting some more, maybe an extra bunker or so. I mean, any way you play this off that's very safe as Shaman is just going to be incredibly good. But speak too soon, because look, Marines are still being rallied up to the front.
Yeah, and the hatchery being targeted. Now back to the Zerglings. Some good micro here without Zergling speed. You just these slow Marines are even so easy to micro. And if he's trading armies, Shaman trading armies for Zerglings with Mondragon, that's good in his favor, because when these small amount of Zerglings come to the natural without speed, they're not going to be able to get anything done. So let's look at how Mondragon's been left. He's got about, looks like, I'm going to guess about 12 drones, maybe less. A few Zerglings coming into the natural of Shaman, not going to be able to get anything done. And he's got no tech here. He's got no Zergling speed, got no lair.
Yeah, it's an impossible situation to be in as Mondragon. And if I'm Mondragon, I'm really feeling a little uncomfortable, because really, I mean, obviously this is a bad situation to be in. You weren't mining from your natural and it almost died, but Shaman's a pretty old school player, as is Mondragon. They've both been around for a very long time, and even if you're Mondragon and you lose to one of these newer players, you think, oh well, these young kids are so focused on their mechanics. But with old school players, you like to think that you're still like the king of the kings. You want to maintain your status as the best. You kind of go into the game assuming that you're either going to win or that your opponent has to play incredibly well to beat you, and then to open up game 1 and to have just a Marine rush keep you down for almost the entire game is just really rough.
Yeah, it's the old story of getting sunken broken as a Zerg in TVZ. That just shouldn't happen, but it happens to the best of us. But the thing I find strange here is Mondragon drone scouted it, didn't even put that creep down. So I mean, these days ZVT is getting greedy, but it's a 2-rack, so you can afford to play a little safer. And Mondragon is a very smart player, so of all the Zergs these days, he's the one I'm shocked this happened to.
Yeah, and I love the way that Shaman is playing this off. I mean, he's getting his tech a little bit ahead of his upgrades. And look at that money just barely ever getting above 100, and then immediately just plummets right back down. Incredible macro by Shaman. He's clearly feeling very comfortable. A lot of SCV production. Going straight for that starport already. Not giving up anything. And look at this. Look at these extra fire bats that have been made. 5 fire bats, which is a lot more than you'd normally make. But again, one of the only ways you can really lose is if a whole bunch of Zerglings with speed stream into your front. So he is just not falling for it at all.
Right, and on top of that, he's got 2 scanners, and he's making them work, scanning both the main and the natural to really get a sense of how is he going to try to follow this up. And just look at the disparity in the supply. Shaman rolling out with a tank and 76 supply. Mondragon with a piddly 31. I mean, what can you do? And look at this, even putting down a bunker Shaman is, leaving a fire bat, 2 medics. He's going to have these units reinforcing. Mondragon doing a little backstab here, but, it's really not going to work. And Shaman is playing very smart to stop that.
Yeah, Mondragon's still doing a good job of hanging in there. I mean, he's continuing to make drones. He's trying to set up his economy. It's a very confident play to make that many additional drones, because really what you're saying is the longer this game goes on, the bigger of an advantage I'll have because I make better decisions. I mean, for instance, we see a few Marines end up sort of faltering forward and dying to these sunken colonies, but the tank is up just outside of range of those sunken colonies. But still, I mean, it almost feels like impending doom right now for Mondragon.
Yeah, seriously, like what an uncomfortable situation. He has to invest so much of his economy into these sunken colonies. You know, people say, why would he make so many sunken colonies? Well, if he didn't make them, he would be dead right now. So it's kind of lose-lose here.
Yeah, and oh, here come the Marines just swarming right in. They know that there's only these 3 sunken colonies right here. Very aggressive play by Shaman, taking everything out. We see a Ling flank coming from behind. Mondragon even targets the tank and manages to take it out, hoping to, have some way of hanging in this game if he can hold off this Marine troop, but it is just not going to happen. There is way too many units taking out all the sunken colonies, and that early Marine pressure just did wonders for Shaman. He's in such a good situation. There's the good game. Wow, I mean, I spent all that time blabbering on about what's so neat about Neo Tornado in the mid and late game, and really, Shaman just shows that if you can put early game pressure on, it doesn't even matter what the map is, you can just get into such an incredible lead.
And something I think that's worthwhile bringing up here, we've talked about, we saw it in the other game we just casted that we said nerves play a big factor, excuse me, in the first game of a set. But I think we have to throw that out the window when we're looking at these old, kind of grizzled, experienced players. I don't think Mondragon feels nerves playing in the TSL, and I think that was just a blunder. He just left his guard down, got a little too greedy. Uh, what's your take on the situation? How could this happen to Mondragon?
Um, well, I mean, that's the sort of thing that, like, always happens, and I mean, Mondragon really is one of those people who's really good at just not getting nervous, really good at just playing his own game and everything. But I actually remember in the 2004 WCG Grand Final, Mondragon lost to Advocat in that's A2 by the way, the Russian player. He lost to A2 just because A2 did another Marine Rush just like that and ended up getting this huge lead early. So it's something that I've seen Mondragon deal with before. And anytime there's a consistent way that you end up losing, that is the number one thing you don't want to have happen in game one of an important best of 5. I mean, because again, with the PokerStrategy.com TSL, there is so much money on the line. All these players have already won 250, but they're still gunning for that enormous first place prize. And if you start out game one, you're all focused, you're ready to go, and then a Marine Rush happens, even someone who is as focused and as clutch as Mondragon is still going to be feeling the hurt.